Kellyanne Conway is a senior advisor to President-elect Trump. Kellyanne, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Matt and Meredith.
Let's start with this intelligence and the leak of those unverified allegations. At the news conference yesterday, Kellyanne, President-elect Trump said that it was released maybe by the intelligence agencies, who knows, but maybe the intelligence agencies, which would be a tremendous blot on their record. He went on to say disgraceful that the intelligence agencies allowed any information that turned out to be so false and fake out. James Clapper called the president-elect last night and said, Mr. President-elect, I don't believe this release or these leaks came from the intelligence community. Does Mr. Trump believe James Clapper?
Well, the president-elect was very happy to receive the call from Mr. Clapper, very happy that Mr. Clapper agrees with him, Matt, that there should be no leaks. I mean, why intelligence officials or other people are leaking to the media rather than making sure that the president-elect and indeed President Obama himself are briefed on sensitive information, I think is really the point here.
You just said it again. You just said that intelligence officials or someone else. Do you still believe that there's a chance this came from the intelligence community?
What I believe doesn't matter, but here's what does matter. What matters is that the president-elect had a briefing by the 4 top intelligence officers in our nation last week. We were very happy to receive them here at Trump Tower and for the president-elect and vice president-elect to get that briefing. Then, no sooner do they have it that people are leaking information. What struck me most in Mr. Clapper's public statement that I'm sure your viewers can access for themselves is Mr. Clapper re-emphasizing that the intelligence community gave no credibility and veracity to those the fake news documents.
And I agree exactly.
And that's really important here because that's very important here because I don't want people to leave thinking that it's been imbued with some kind of credibility. And really, it was NBC News who broke the story yesterday. So good for you that it says on your website that Donald Trump was not briefed on this intelligence
And I
matter.
just want to, just in 2 seconds, does Mr. Trump believe Mr. Clapper that this did not come from intelligence?
Mr. Trump was very happy to receive that information from Mr. Clapper, and he has great respect for the intelligence community. He said that last Friday, and he said it again last night.
But again, does he believe it? Yes or no?
You have to ask him what he believes. But what he believes is that we're at a very fraught time, that we have leaks on sensitive information for political purposes. And Meredith and Matt, I'm sure we all agree, as do all Americans, that's dangerous stuff. Yeah. We simply can't. I mean, here we are, our hands are tied because we can't discuss private, sensitive information, and yet others are doing it.
So let's move on, Kellyanne, to what we probably can discuss, his plans for his business holdings moving forward. He said yesterday that he could run his business and run the government, but he doesn't like the way that looks. So he's putting his assets in a trust that will be managed in large part by his adult sons. Ethics experts agree that it's totally legal, but they add that they feel it is inadequate and meaningless because it leaves him open to suspicions of corruption. So let's put the legality aside. Everybody agrees it's legal. And look at the message. Is that the message he wants to project as he takes office?
Well, those are some ethics people. I don't know what their political motivations are, Meredith, but many people, including legal experts, are very happy with what he's doing here. He's making enormous sacrifices. The holdings of this very successful businessman over a number of decades across a number of continents is just unprecedented for our presidency.
So Kellyanne, is that a take-it-or-leave-it plan?
He's agreed to step away from everything that has to do with the Trump organization. He will have no decision-making prowess. He will have no equity interest. He's divesting. He is turning over management of his wildly successful business to his 2 sons.
But Kellyanne, you know that if you do that and you put it in a blind trust, then it's controlled by someone you have no communication with, you don't control, independent. He's turning it over to his flesh and blood, and it makes it sound like his plan for avoiding conflicts of interest is, trust me.
No, that's not fair at all. He had his lawyer, Sherry Dillon, up there yesterday. Anybody can pull the information. She read the whole statement publicly. NBC News was right there in the front. We were happy to take questions from at least 2 of your reporters, Matt and Meredith. And the fact is that Ms. Dillon, everybody can pull it up, addressed the blind trust issue. That it does not, people are looking at the wrong issue there when they think it has to be a blind trust. But look, why always the presumptive negativity against Mr. Trump when he is trying to comply with the law and also to satisfy any ethics concerns that people have? He's making an enormous sacrifice here, including stepping away from the company that he built.
He did something interesting yesterday, Kellyanne. He used an example to talk about conflict of interest. He said a guy from Dubai had approached him not long ago, I think perhaps less than a week ago, and offered him a $2 billion development deal. Let me play a little bit about that soundbite.
Over the weekend, I was offered $2 billion to do a deal in Dubai with a very, very, very amazing man. And I turned it down. I didn't have to turn it down because, as you know, I have a no conflict situation because I'm president.
So again, he's ethical, trust me, but isn't his own example at the crux of the issue here? If you don't completely sell off your assets, if you don't completely remove yourself from business, isn't this the exact kind of situation he's going to be placed in time and time again?
No, Mr. Trump used that example yesterday to show that he's already leaving a lot of money on the table. One could argue that he could have turned over that business opportunity to his sons, who will be taking over the Trump organization. He's showing that he's going to devote his time 100% to the presidency. And let me just say, as part of the legal statement, Mr. Trump has sold off and liquidated, easily liquidatable assets already, Matt. So it's not as if he hasn't done that. Selling a stock is different than selling real estate, and that's very clear as well. But I think people should, this whole nonsense that if a foreign leader stays in the Trump hotel somewhere around the world, they're getting a benefit beyond a good night at a hotel, a good night's rest at a hotel. I mean, that's just a bridge too far. And I think, look, the American people elected Donald Trump because they like the fact that he's not a politician, he's a successful businessman, and they will follow him into the White House, watching him apply that business acumen to the presidency, those skills, going to Washington, owing nobody anything. This divestment and this plan to step away from his corporation is impressive. And again, it's transparent. I really commend your viewers to go ahead and look it up.
And we do too. Kellyanne, we thank you for your time this morning. Thank you very much.
Kellyanne.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.